Welcome back to the weekly podcast digest, 33 and Up Club. This week, I did deviate a little from my podcast regimen. A dear friend of mine published a documentary, and in support of her, I sat through both part 1 and part 2. It is definitely a very dark topic, trigger warning, child abuse, but if you would like to view this, it's available on Hulu. It's called The Nightmare Upstairs, What Happened to Ty and Bryn. It's very well done, even though it is very hard to get through. And then after that, on a much, much lighter note, I listened to The Raw and the Cooked. This is someone I've known for a long time. She's my cousin, actually. Her podcast is all about home life management. Full disclosure, she runs her home like a Fortune 500 CEO. So her example is kind of hard to stand next to, but she does have some very practical and helpful tools. She has a whole series on home life structuring for success. The first episode is episode 213. It's called Micro Habits, the Tiny Behaviors That Hold Your Home Together. It's like a little very short masterclass on Atomic Habits, the book, which she highly recommends. Anyways, I found this very helpful, if hard to live up to, but she breaks it down into bite-sized pieces, which is nice and much more attainable than just walking into her home and feeling inadequate. Anyways, love her, love that series. It was great. I listened to all 4 of the episodes. Run, don't walk. Okay. And then next, I know I sound like a broken record, but I came back to the NICU Heroes podcast because I have doula on the brain. And if you listen to this week's episode of the 33 and Up Club, you'll understand why. And when I saw this title, I was like, oh, I have to go listen to this. And it's season 7, episode 51, called When Birth Doesn't Go as Planned, a Doula-Informed Approach to Trauma. Love everything about that title. Really appreciated everything that this birth doula was saying about trauma in a birth space, especially when it leads to a NICU stay or having a hospitalized infant. Really appreciated everything she was saying. However, what she acknowledges herself several times in the episode is nurses don't have time for any of the things that she's saying we need to be doing. Neither do healthcare providers. We just simply don't. We are running from fire to fire. And as Mary fairly says over and over again, the nurse and the providers are always going to prioritize the health and safety and medical needs of their patient. So if I have 12 hours in a shift, my first responsibility is to keep this baby alive and well. If I have time to go get a cup of water for mom, even though it's literally across the hospital, I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Of course, I would love to. But 99% of the time, I do not. And would I love to hold space for moms and dads who are clearly suffering? 100%. In fact, that was most of what I talked about in therapy this week, was how hard it is to be there, knowing these people are suffering and knowing I'm a part of the trauma they're experiencing. I am a part of the system that's hurting them, even while we keep their baby well. It's so painful to be a part of that and not have the time or resources to fix it. So while I really appreciate everything that was brought up in this podcast episode, I really genuinely do. I think the missing piece is hospital-based NICU doulas. And there are people fighting this fight, like Mary Fairley. I actually ended up signing up for her NICU doula course. So that's part of why my podcast listening time has been so limited, because I am delving into that coursework and trying to get some other projects off the ground in my own community to help fill this gap, which is enormous. So that's all I have for you on the weekly podcast digest. I hope you are enjoying. If this is meaningful to you, feel free to like and subscribe, just so I know if it's reaching anybody, because there are so many lurkers, okay? And by lurkers, I mean people who are listening and looking, but don't like or acknowledge. And then I'll see you in public and you'll say something and I'll smile and nod and appreciate your comment. But in my head, I'm like, why? Why can't you just hit that little, am I the only person who does that? Am I the only person who clicks the little heart button and likes things? I guess I'm just lame like that. I'm weird. I don't know. It's just not cool anymore. I don't know. I don't get it. So if you're a lurker, stop it. Make a comment, acknowledge that you're listening, and even if you hate it, just, I don't know. Don't be a coward. Talking to you. It's okay. I've talked with many friends and family members who are indeed lurkers and who will own up to it. I still love you. You know who you are. All right. That's all from the NICU. I'm sorry. That's all from the weekly podcast digest here at 33 and Up Club. I hope you enjoy this week's episode of the 33 and Up Club. I did. And I'll see you next time.